to this verse, Surah 929. The other verse that you refer to is Surah 551.
Not compare directly. Just
answer my question.
Answer the question.
All right, and Surah 551 is the other verse you brought up. And I'll try to quote it off the top of my head. Do not take as friends Jews and Christians, for they are friends of one another. And he who takes them as a friend is one of them. Now, if you are going to translate morally whichever way, I'm not going to be an Arab scholar, I'm not going to bandy Arabic around with you tonight, but I think it's important for those of us who are Christians, and I think we are Jews, it's a troubling verse, if you're not to take us as friends. How else is that to be translated if we are friends of one another? And those who are amongst them, do that, are one of them. That's a troubling verse, and I leave that really for the exegetes to work with it. But that's how I answer that.
May I have 1 minute for me?
You may, yeah.
Regarding jizya, it is to exempt the non-Muslims who are protected by Muslim state from paying taxes, from zakat, from khums, from contributing to jihad and to defend the country. Instead, they have like poll tax and nothing like humiliating as that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? There's one here.
Hi. In the Ibn Hisham's Nabawiyah, which we find redactions of in this guidance 765, it's a very early source. Muhammad, in there we find that he committed 25 assassinations, and one of which was a poetess named Osama bin Laden. And she was assassinated.
Wait, I think you were at the back having difficulty hearing you.
The poetess Osama bin Laden was assassinated for composing a poem which criticized the Prophet Muhammad. And as a result,
come and use the microphone. I think people are still struggling.
This might have to do very relevantly with this current situation about the Danish cartoons about the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so in the Sirah Nabawiyah, in the biography of the Prophet, the earliest one that we have from Ibn Hisham, who died in 833, he has redactions of Ibn Ishaq from 765. We find that Muhammad committed at least 25 assassinations, and one of which was a woman who was a poetess, and she merely just wrote a poem about the Prophet Muhammad and criticized him, and as a result she was assassinated by Prophet Muhammad because of this. Now, radical Muslims obviously use texts to justify their actions, and my Muslim friends, they believe that the best way to be a Muslim is to follow the Prophet in his actions, his life, his words. Now my question to you is, what is your best way to be a Muslim? What do you define as being a good Muslim?
Okay, so the question really is, was it to be a good Muslim?
Yes, why don't you remember the incident of a Jew who was throwing the cabbage on the Prophet and trying to urinate on him every day, and he was sending and stoning him. One day he did not, and when the Prophet...
The question is, what is it to be a good Jew? I apologize.
Okay. But when he didn't, he went to visit him when he realized that he was ill. But in my opinion, to be a good Muslim is to serve the community, to help others. Don't stick and don't look at the differences, because all of us are organs of one body. All of us are created by the same Creator. And Imam Ali alayhi salam tells us in his letter, when he sent to the governor of Egypt, he said, look, people are either are your brother in faith, or you are like you in creation, which means that they are created the same Creator. So to be a good Muslim means that to look at everybody as created by the same Creator as you.
I think what he intended was, the question is, what should we do if that is the model we have in front of you, the earliest model? So what, answer from that spirit. What should they do today if that is our model then?
The question at the moment is...
Okay, let me read with one sentence.
Okay, let me read.
That not necessarily what is mentioned in Sirah ibn Hisham is agreed and approved by other scholars. Only 15% of the content of Sirah ibn Hisham is acceptable and 85% of that is fabricated.
Okay, we're going to move on to...
Let me just answer that real quickly. Can I answer that?
30 seconds.
Okay. I think it's fascinating that we don't have this problem with Jesus Christ. It's beautiful that we don't have to abrogate 80% of his history.
We're going to debate between this and
Right.
we're going to stop right there and move on to some other questions. Okay, we're going to start at the back. Okay.
You talked about the death of the people of the Jews in Medina, and just so we go along with what you said about not talking about context, I mean, Khiyay was one of the leaders of one of the tribes in Hek. He said that the Prophet Muhammad had treated them justly, because it was not only by the laws of the people in Medina that they were tried for fighting against Medina in the actual agreement they had with Medina, because they did there prior to Prophet Muhammad moving there. It was also from the Quran. It was actually by the Jewish scriptures that they were judged. And in Sharia, it actually says if the people are paid the jizya, and if they are kept by Muslim states, then they are allowed to be judged by their own law. Now my question is this: you said earlier on that Christians now, because of the new covenant, do not follow the Mosaic law. Forever writes the Bible. I mean, in Romans 8, Paul speaks about the death of a woman's husband that breaks her contract to the husband, so allowing her to marry again, not making her an adulteress. Then he takes the analogy and says, as Jesus has died now, we are not connected to the laws that Jesus has given us. Now, Jesus has given us laws, and through his death we're not connected to them. Does that mean that Jesus followed the Mosaic law? And if Jesus will follow the Mosaic law, how can Paul or anybody else for that matter come and say, we do not follow now the Mosaic law? Because that doesn't necessarily mean that everything that Paul has said is wrong, but it takes away a bit from the credibility if he has gone against exactly what Jesus has said.
Okay.
Excellent question. First, on your comment, real quickly, and I'll answer your question. On the comment, I would like to know where you sourced that. I don't know of any Jew that would like to go to his death saying what you're doing is just, when we don't know that those Jews even signed the Treaty of Medina that was referring to. That treaty was signed in 622. This reference that he's referring to in 925 or 929 is taking place in 632. That's 10 years later. Yeah, getting back to your question, very good question concerning what do we do with the law? Remember what I said earlier. The law is fulfilled in Jesus Christ. While Jesus, before his death, was a Jew, you're right, and he followed the laws of the Jews, and he followed all the ceremonial laws of the Jews. But remember, he also broke the Sabbath as he was interpreting the Sabbath. And that's what we see from the time that he died on the cross and rose again. From that time, everything had been fulfilled. And that's why he was preparing people for that which was going to come after the resurrection. When Paul was speaking, he was speaking from after the resurrection. Therefore, all those ceremonial laws, all the Mosaic laws no longer pertained. And as Christians, we go back to that which Jesus represented and that which Paul said as he expounded those laws. That's what he's referring to. Exactly. It was atonement of sins. Does this have to do with what we're talking tonight? Okay. That was a violent act, I will agree, but it was an act done against him.
Of course. However, the idea of the atonement is something that is part of the Jewish covenant. It's part of the Jewish faith.
Exactly. I mean, it was all prefiguring the fact that someone would atone. The Messiah would come. He would be the one who would do the atonement. The Al-Masih, as you know him, we know who he is. Let us help you with it. And we'll define exactly what he did when he came.
Okay. Will we join? Lady in the corner there next. Might be quite loud.
Yes. Oh yeah. What you said, second speaker, I don't remember. What you said, I now appreciate that Islam is a very beautiful religion. You said that people cause these laws in the name of Islam. It gives Islam a bad name. So what have you done as a religious leader to stop people giving Islam a bad name? Because it is